What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Made by Faith. I'm trying to get better. It's every other day, but today this might be a faster episode because I have an interview at 10 o'clock. It is 8:22, so I got to get this done so I can get ready to go. But that being said, this whole episode is inspired by a Jeremy Camp song that probably not a lot of people know. It's called Letting Go. And I was listening to it on my way back from dropping Serena off at work, and I went to men's group this morning. And we didn't really talk about anything in particular there, but I was just on my way back, and the song, I love the song Letting Go. And I was like, this would be a really good topic. You know, I don't know if God put it in my head or not. But I was just like, this would be a good topic. And I'm like, we just talked about the Power Rangers last episode, so let's go ahead and keep going with that theme. And especially because I am a Jason fanboy, we're really going to delve into the character of Jason because of letting go. And there are a couple things that happen in canon that he has to let go. And before we get to the correlation with him, we're going to just step into letting go as a Christian. And I've got a couple of verses pulled up here. Some of them I'm not a huge fan of, but for this topic specifically. But we'll look at it. This one right here is Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And then we have John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's one that I think is said a lot in pop culture and just culture in general. Here's one. I wrote a song recently called "Don't Be Afraid," and this kind of correlates. This is Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything. In every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And those of you who are going to come see Behind the Line, Don't Be Afraid will premiere there first. And then I'll be doing an album version of a couple of those songs as well, and that's one of them. We'll move on down to... this is one that Serena and I talk about a lot. Psalms 46:10. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." There's another great one right here. Psalms 94, verse 19. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. And here's another one, Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And that kind of brings me into what we're talking about today, letting go. And I might get a little bit real here, just a little bit, but not go full deep dive yet, because I really want to deep dive in on this topic at some point. I have been struggling with something very personal. And I did really good there for a little bit, and then the other day I gave into temptation a lot. It is not a drug or anything, but it is I will just say it's a self-pleasuring thing. For me, typically when this happens, it's when my wife is on her menstrual, that time of the month, and there is no intimacy at that point. And for some reason, libido gets really high at that point, So, it's like this thing. And I've been trying to do really good about it. And I think I've done a lot better than what I used to in the past. But for me, it is the one thing that I'm having a hard time letting go of. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm imperfect. There are times where I do give into lust, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go do something. And because I'm not keeping myself busy, I'm not keeping myself occupied, the idle hands of the devil's plaything, right? But what's crazy is, and this, again, this is personal. This is very personal. And I'll go more into my testimony with this later. But anytime I start doing this thing, and y'all should know what this is at this point, I'm having to say it out loud. God has this funny way of being like, bro, stop it. And Jeremy Camp songs will start going in the back of my head, and I'll start hearing, I still believe in your faithfulness, or like, there will be a day. It's like, why are you in my head right now? And it's God telling me, hey, and it's been that way since I was in high school. Like, he'll be like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, dog. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And so for me, that is something I have to let go of. That is a personal thing, a personal sin that I've been struggling with. And, I feel weird talking about it. I feel very vulnerable talking about it. But I want to get more in depth with it later, just later on. But this isn't really about that. This is just more of letting go of that. That's something I struggle with. But at church, we've been talking about the idea of purpose and relevance. And, we all have a purpose. But we all think that our purpose is one thing, right? And the sermon on Sunday was talking about how our purpose can change depending on the time. Depending on what God is needing us to do, that purpose can change. It can switch. Any minute, any moment. And so we have to learn to let go of our earthly purpose when the time is up. And so that is where I'm at today, is that idea of letting go of the purpose that we feel we are supposed to do. And what character is better suited for that than Jason Lee Scott? Y'all will be arguing. Y'all will be like, well, no, Tommy Oliver. Look, Tommy Oliver, we talked about him last week. Earlier this week, sorry. Tommy Oliver was the Paul. He was the one who was evil and got his life turned around for good, and he went the distance. He kept returning every single time to be encouraging, to mentor, to do all this stuff. He was the Paul. We're talking about the Peter today. We're talking about the David today. We're talking about the one who started it all, and that is Jason, the original Red Ranger. Now, again, I know there's a lot of people who aren't Jason fans, but there's a lot of people who are Jason fans. And in that, it's from a kid's show, so we don't really know if Jason like impure thoughts or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. But I wanted to say, as a human, as a normal person, that is something that I've had trouble letting go of. It's something that I'm working through to get through. I know a lot of men and women who struggle with it. And it's something we should be able to talk about in fellowship and trying to figure that out. So I did want to bring that up. But on the note of Jason, let's look at Jason. He was the original Red Ranger. He was the first Ranger to have some sort of faith to Zordon's cause. When Zordon told him about the powers, Jason was the only one to really think about it and be like, he's got a point. He chose us to save the world. I say we do it. And while everybody else was a doubter. Everybody else was like, I don't know. You think we can? No, he was a giant flowing head. What are you talking about? Jason was the one to be like, no, this is a thing. This feels right. So Jason became the leader of the team, right? In season 2, we're not going to talk about behind the scenes. We're going to talk about Austin St. John and Walter Jones and Tweet Train. We're not going to talk about what happened back, behind the scenes with, contracts and money. In the story, Jason gets set out on a new purpose. He is no longer meant to lead the team. He needs to go off into the world and lead people. So he gets sent off with his two best friends to a peace conference in Switzerland. Now, if you read the comics, you'll know that peace conference was a cover-up, and they ended up becoming another team called the Omega Rangers. We're not going to really talk about that too much, except for a little bit here later on. But Jason takes up that call. We're going to head out. We're going to do this thing. We don't see Jason return to the show until Power Rangers Zeo. In Power Rangers Zeo, Tommy is now the Red Ranger. Things have changed. Billy's no longer a Power Ranger. He's support. Rocky's blue. Adam's green. We've got Catherine and Tanya there as pink and yellow. And then we meet Trey of Triforia, who is this being from another land, who is the Gold Ranger, but he's falling apart and he can't hold on to the power until he gets restored. So until he's restored, he has to find someone to be the guardian of that power. They try Billy. Billy's not meant to do it. Tommy's like, I think I know somebody. Goes and gets Jason. Jason accepts the power and becomes the Gold Ranger and the protector of the Golden Power Staff until Trey is able to take it on again in the finale. That is the similar thing. Jason was originally called to lead the team of Rangers. Then he was called to go to a peace conference to lead people. Then he was called to protect this power. On top of protecting this power, he also protects the Key of Auric. Jason carries multiple purposes throughout the series. And every single time, not one time, did Jason question the orders. Every time something bad happened, Jason blamed himself. We look back at the Green Candle. In the Green Candle, this is the first time Tommy loses his powers. Rita has made this candle to drain the Green Ranger powers. Jason is trying to get it. However, at that time, there's a Zord battle going on. Tommy could be dying. So Zach pulls Jason back so they can defeat the monster. But in that case, loses the Green Candle. And that weighs on him. That guilt, that grief weighs on him because one of his best friends, lost his powers. He's no longer a Ranger. But Zach brought up a good point to him. He's like, yeah, but, he could have lost his life. He could lose his life. And so Jason had to make that call. But Jason never complained about it. Jason was never like, well, Zordon, you made me do this. No, he took it. And he was like, okay. And he held on to it for a long time until season 2 when something similar happened to his friends, the rest of the team. But this time around, he was like, I'm not going to let them down. It is my duty, my destiny to save them. So he went and saved them. Every single last one of them. And then soon after that is whenever his call to stop being a Ranger and go off came into play. Now, if we step into the comics, like I say, he becomes the Red Omega Ranger. He leads that team. However, in a recent comic, Jason sacrifices his connection to the morphing grid to save his friends. So he's no longer the Red Ranger. He can no longer become a Ranger. I don't know how it works in the comic world compared to the TV canon. I don't know how it's going to work because they're not at Zeo yet. But that's what they did. But the thing was, he did what he had to do. And that's the beauty of that character. And there are other characters like that come to follow. A character based on Destiny is Wes Collins. That is someone who's got Destiny in there. I think Cole Evans is the same way. But Jason Lee Scott never once strayed from the path that Zordon laid down for him. Unless, he was brainwashed or something. But in his own right, in his own mind, he never strayed from the path. When Tommy became White Ranger and became leader, he still didn't complain. I mean, he was out the door anyways, but he didn't complain. when he came back. When he came back as gold, he even said, "We did some good at the peace conference, but I'm happy to be back. I also want you to know I'm not here to take over. Like, I'm not here to lead." He knew his position. He knew what he was supposed to do. And that's the beauty of it. We don't really get to see that again until the next Red Ranger after Tommy, which is TJ. And I really wanted to focus on Jason, but I'm going to put some TJ stuff in there real quick. These guys are two of my favorite Red Rangers of all time. Because TJ was handed a bill of goods. He was handed a bill of goods. Let's just be honest. The cards were not drawn in his favor. He had a brand new team plus a child. He had a terrible mentor to tell him what was going on. He had an alpha that thought he was from New York and thought he was a gangster. And he didn't know what he was doing. There was no letter. There was no nothing. But he kept going. Then when Divatox destroyed the command center, destroyed everything, he led the team to space. They meet Andros, the Red Space Ranger, demoting TJ to Blue. TJ never once complained. TJ never once complained that his destiny had changed, that his purpose had changed. Because the thing was, even though his purpose was to be red for Turbo, his purpose was to be blue for space, but it never changed the outcome. He still led that team. There were moments where TJ had to become leader because Andros didn't know how to lead a team. There had to be moments where TJ had to come up with what was going to happen because nobody else knew what to do. TJ still carried out the purpose that was laid in front of him from the beginning, even though he was not in the same position as he once was. Same thing with Jason. Every time they needed Jason in Zeo, he was there. Every time he helped Tanya go find her parents. That's why he became the guardian, the protector of Oryx Key, because he never complained. As much as I love Steve Cardenas, a character who did complain was Rocky. Rocky becomes the Red Ranger after Jason leaves, basically demolishing the purpose of the Red Ranger. He was just there. Red did not matter anymore. But as we see, as the show goes on, when we get to Zeo, he becomes blue. And if you look over at Rocky, when the colors are assigned, he looks over at Tommy because he got red. He doesn't complain about it, but there's a face. I've always noticed it since I was little. He looks over like, really? He's red? And then, you following me? When Jason returns, Rocky gets jealous. And what does Rocky do? He gets prideful. He gets boastful. And he's like, I'm going to fight King Mondo myself. And what happens? Crap happens. It's not good. And then, on top of that, this is a writing thing, but I got to give it to him. When he got injured, he sent a child in his place. A child. He passed his responsibilities off to a child. I know y'all going to say, he was in the hospital though, Tyler. I don't care. I would have fought through it. I would have been like, what do I do? He didn't break his back. He hurt his back. I would have been like, yo, Larago, I heard you healed Cat. Heal me too, bro. That's what I would have done. I saw a meme for that the other day. Heal me too, bro. But that's what I would have done. Again, I'm not talking about behind the scenes stuff where all Steve Cardenas was done with the show. I'm saying, like, I would have held on. But that's not who he was. Billy. I'm not talking about David Yost. Billy held on as much as he could. Billy stepped back because he felt like he would have served better as, being in that mentor role than as a Ranger himself. And you can see that he missed it. He missed it. And then when he couldn't be the Gold Ranger, you can see how disappointed he was, but he kept going. He kept going. Billy to this day is still going. If you've seen Once and Always, Billy's still trying to figure stuff out. Billy's still trying to get Zordon back. Billy's still working. He never stopped. I mean, technically, you could say the same thing with Rocky. Rocky didn't stop. Rocky grew. But I'm talking about Rocky as a teenager. As an adult, Rocky's come back a couple times now. Adam has come back. Adam's still in the game. Adam's leading, SPA. Catherine's still in the game. TJ is still in the game. All these people are still in the game because they're still working hard. But it brings us back to Jason. Jason was like a mentor, like brother to Billy. In episode 1, we see that. Billy kind of looked up to him. And as Billy matured, the less he needed Jason, right? But Jason was kind of that pivotal thing. He watched Jason. I feel like he watched Jason. That's kind of what led him to where he is, type of thing. Jason never questioned his purpose. The minute Zordon brought it up, Jason accepted the assignment. Every time something happened, Jason accepted the assignment. We jumped to Forever Red years later. And Tommy's like, well, I don't think he's going to make it. And then bam, he shows up. You thought I was going to let you do this about the original Red Ranger? You thought I was going to abandon my post? Man, it's been over 10 years. Man, I ain't done nothing. Like I've been waiting for the call. I'm always waiting for the call. Here's one right here, and I kind of enjoy it. 2 Corinthians 12, verses 8 through 9. And this is a short one. But this looks like this is a summed up version of it. My power is made perfect in weakness. So 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That's Jason. Never one time. And this is something Austin St. John said too. Jason never needed the shield. Jason never needed the dragons, or he never needed something cool. He got it when he was Gold Ranger, but he never needed it. You know why? Because Jason knew he had all he needed. Jason never complained. We look at Green Candle. Green Candle is not Green Candle. Green with Evil. Everybody's like, what do we do? And Jason's like, we cannot give up. Even if there's a slightest chance of victory, we cannot give up. When I wrote the victory song, the Power Ranger victory song, the opening line is, even if there's 1% of a chance, we can't back down or stray away. We gotta pull ourselves together, because there's innocence we can save. Like that is all inspired by what Jason was telling his team when they were doubtful. I love Zach, but Zach is definitely the doubting Thomas of the group at times. He's definitely the one who was like, he's like, man, I don't know about all this. Like, like that's how he was at the beginning. Even a little bit in Once and Always, he's that way. And it's this thing of what one person can do. I know we're on the topic of letting go, and I'm sure you're like, what's going on? My point with this is, Jason, when it came time for Jason to let go of things, he let go of things. In the finale of Zeo, the power was killing him. The power was not meant for a human body, and it was killing him. But he held on to it as long as he could until Trey could return for the power. Like, that is something, like, most people would just give up. Most people would be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. He didn't. Jason was laying his life down. Legacy, which is on hold. If you listen to the prologue, Jason sacrifices himself by calling on the power one last time. Because he knows it's going to kill him. If I use this, it'll kill me. So, this is why Jason as a character has always been special to me, and it's always been dear to me, is because Jason is the leader that I think we all should strive to be. Everybody says Tommy. I love Tommy. Don't get me wrong. I love Tommy. But Tommy was a showboater. Tommy was, even though, he got a curse put on him, he was evil, became good again, lost his powers, got his powers back, lost his powers, and then became the White Ranger. Tommy has his own demons. Tommy has his own struggles. Tommy, for me, has never been a full team player. He cares about his team, but it is very much the way he's written. It's very much the Tommy Oliver show, and my friends are here. With Jason, it never felt that way. With Jason, it was like, my team, without my team, I can't do this. Jason was the epitome of that, and we were starting to talk about that last week. Jason knew that without my team, I can't do anything. It wasn't until, there were times where T-Rex would fight by himself, but majority of the time they had to go into Megazord mode. When they got the Thunderzords, Red Dragon could fight by himself, but even then there was the Assault team. Rarely do I think like he fought on his own very long and then the others showed up. Tommy constantly fought alone. He constantly was trying to handle stuff on his own. Constantly. And it was like, oh, well, y'all take care of the putties, I'm going to go after the monster of the day type of thing. Or, y'all take care of the putties, I'm going to go save the Pink Ranger. Oh, y'all go take care of the putties, I'm going to go do this. Y'all go do nerd stuff, I'm going to go do this. Whereas Jason was like, we have to do this as a team. There is no splitting up. If we split up, Billy, go make this invention. We'll hold them off until you get back. But with Tommy, it was very much like, I'll go save Kimberly. I'll go save Catherine. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. And so it was a different thing. Although Tommy did go to places and reach people, it was very much a look at me type of thing. As he got older and came back for Forever Red, he was still leader of this group, even though as a kid I was like, nah, Jason's better. He was still leader of this group and brought all these people together. And that's the beauty of Tommy. That's the thing I will say about this. Tommy Oliver can unite people. Tommy Oliver can bring people together for a cause. But Jason was the most faithful to what it was to be a Ranger. Jason was never boastful. Jason never felt he could do it on his own. Jason carried burdens on his back. Jason made sure that the mission and his team came first before himself. That's where it's at. Jason had the ability to let go. Tommy eventually did, but Tommy kept coming back. Tommy let go in Turbo. He returned in Forever Red for an episode, but then returns for Dino Thunder. And the reason why is because the power. He went and did things he wasn't supposed to do. He was messing with dinosaur DNA. And then he finds the Dino Gems and makes new powers because he wanted back in the game. And then he leaves. And then we don't really see him again until Megaforce or Super Megaforce, where he's got White Ranger power and Green Ranger power somehow. And then we see him in Ninja Steel, where he's got the Master Morpher. Dude is still in the work, but it's like he can't let go of the things that made him who he was. We don't see Jason with a master morpher. We see Jason with a basic power morpher when he comes back. He comes back as Red twice later on. So he comes back, or I guess 3 times if you want to count once and always. But he's holding on, like Tommy holds on to all these powers. It's a cool concept if you look at it from the point of view of just a Ranger fan. Oh, sure, he's got a morpher that allows him to go to all 5 powers. It's amazing. But if you look at it from somebody who's like, is that what this is about? Tommy's constantly trying to hold on to the power. Tommy's constantly trying to elevate the power to a new form. Whereas Jason's like, if I'm called to do it, I'll do it. But if I'm not called, I'll wait till I'm called. As Christians, we do have to work, but we have to put in patience. We got to put in the time. There's a Jeremy Camp song that is, I won't make a move without you right by my side. And that's what I think about Jason Lee Scott is I won't move until the grid or Zordon tells me, hey, it's time for you to come back. Hey, it's time for you to do this. Hey, it's time. Tommy is like, I'm going to make this myself. I see it. I was called to do this. I'm going to make sure that I keep doing this because this is my forever purpose. And what did that forever purpose get him? His mentor, his friend, getting turned into a Jekyll and Hyde creation. Him losing a friend, becoming a weird cyborg. Tommy's ambitions. This is really me stretching, so. But his ambitions caused the death of Smitty. His ambitions caused Anton Mercer to become this monster. His ambitions led to a woman getting abducted. Like, think about that. What did Jason do? Who did Jason harm? Okay, Jason didn't get the green candle, but he made up for it. Tommy still became the White Ranger. Tommy still became the leader of the power team. Tommy's destiny, Tommy's purpose still happened. Jason didn't force himself to do it. Jason listened to reason. Either my friend's going to lose his power or he's going to lose his life. And right now, him living is more important. So when we're called to do something, we always have to keep in mind we need to work on that something. We need to make sure that something is legitimate and real. You know, that this is what God has called us to. But the thing is, when God tells you, okay, keep doing what you're doing, but we're moving it to a new area. And you're like, wait a minute. No, I've been prepared to be a ranger my whole life. Cool. You're still going to save people, but you're not going to do it in a suit. No. Jason was like, okay. Where am I going? Switzerland. All right, cool. You're taking Trini and Zach with you. Sweet. All right, let's go. Did that. Gets a phone call. Hey, it's Tommy. Hey, look, we got something going on. Can you come help us out? I'm on it. And I know you're going to be like, well, you skipped the Turbo movie with Jason. You're right. But that was brainwashed. That was the enemy getting to him in a way that, you know, we would call possession now. So we can't say that was Jason himself. Jason got kidnapped. Jason got thrown into a lava pit. But that was part of the journey. That was part of the purpose, right? Without that motivation, I don't think it would have led the Turbo movie the direction that it went. And so that was part of the purpose, the plan. Jason gets called for this mission to the moon. Devin puts a call out on the morphing grid. Who answers it? Who answers it? The original. He shows up. I know who you are. But why did you call for help? He didn't know. All he heard was someone needed help, and he jumped on it. All right, I hear you. I'm coming. Tell me what's going on. Look, there's some bad guys. All right, you and I will team up. We'll get this taken care of. He didn't hold on to the power, from what we know. From what we know, the powers were recreated in once and always, and that's how he has power. But from what we know, he didn't go on and try to become a vigilante. As much as we all want to imagine that Jason's a vigilante, Jason, in my opinion, is that person who waits. He waits for the call. And every single time he shows up, the job gets done. Minus that one time. Ever since the green candle, he's shown up. He's shown up. Never complained. Never complained. And so, like, this is not really me trying to boast or anything, but it's me really being like, here's what we got. Jason is the one who would let go when he was told to. And I think for us as Christians, that's something we need to learn to do better. I do. I told you at the beginning of this show, something that I hold on to from time to time that I need to let go of. It's a sin that eats at me. And I'm just like, I got to let it go. I got to let it go. I've been struggling with purpose lately. And the funny thing is, I've been working on my purpose at least for the last 7 years. But I keep thinking there's got to be more, right? My purpose has to be bigger than this. And it's funny because my purpose is what I've wanted to do since I was in the 6th grade. In the 6th grade, there were 2 things I wanted to do. And that was be a paleontologist, because I love dinosaurs, still do, and be an actor. That dream did not die. That dream never died. As many of the no's that I got from community theater, from the auditions I auditioned for, from the times where I had to make my own films with my friends, or I was casted in a film but I had a very small role, or maybe I only got the role because I was friends with one of the PAs on set. Like, it was like this dream of creating and acting and telling stories has been in my bones before 6th grade. Before 6th grade. Power Rangers is where it started for me. If it wasn't for the character Jason and Austin St. John, I don't know if I'd be an actor today. Because of him, that's what I wanted to do, man. I was fighting, playing. I'd be out in the yard. If I get a picture back to my mom, but I might take a picture of it and put it up one day. And just show you guys on YouTube what I looked like. Like, I had all these weird toys and whatnot, and I didn't have a morpher when I was little. I did, but like, I think at this time I didn't have one, and I had like this weird like Snoopy detective watch thing, and I put that on, treated that like a morpher, and like that was my thing. Like, I played constantly by myself at that. I legit, I had friends, but they were friends at school. They weren't like friends in the neighborhood. And so I played by myself a lot. I was in my head. I was in my imagination. And I would just play and have these adventures. And we had this big yard, and I would play out there, or I would play in the house. I would put Power Rangers on, on VHS, and I would watch that. And then I would, like, while I was watching it, I'd reenact it and stuff like that. That's what I would do. And that fed into my purpose of reaching people through theater. And it wasn't until recently where I realized that's what God called me to do. It's like, you stupid fool, you've been doing this actively since 2016. what are you doing with your, like, why are you looking for some greater purpose? I've given it to you. You're currently doing it. And I'm like, but there's got to be more, right? There's got to be more to it, right? Like, I've become a Tommy in that sense of like, well, I don't want it to end. Like, I got to make this more. I got to do more. I've got to make a movie. I've got to like get a record deal. You know, I've got to make my YouTube grow to over like 10 million subscribers so I can live off of it that way. I was told recently, and I've gone longer than what I wanted to, but I've been told recently that your purpose could be ministering to one person. And when I heard that, it crushed me. Because I want my purpose to be larger than life. I want to be seen. I want to be loved. And I had to realize that it's not about me. Can I make a master more? For sure, I could. And I could show everybody what I can do. I can hold on to the power. I can hold on to the fame. I can hold on to that glory for myself. But it's not about me. I have to let go of my pride. I have to let go of the thing that is driving me beyond what God is calling me to do. I don't want to be a Tommy Oliver in this life. We all think that's what we want. We all think that we want to be a Tommy Oliver. We don't. Yeah, we want everybody to love us. We want to lead people. We want to do all of that. We want to have a master morpher that allows everyone to see the cool things that we can do, the cool suits that we have. We want the golden shields. You know, we want the dragon sword. We want what everybody wants. But I realized that whether 50 people show up to my show or 5, somebody will walk away changed because God is in it. It's not about me. It's not about what I can do. I don't even fully accept when I say I wrote a script because God does it. God uses me as a way to get these stories out. God uses me as a vessel to reach people. It's not about me. I want to be a Jason Lee Scott. I want to wait for the Lord to tell me when to go. I want to keep digging until He does it. I don't want to be boastful. I don't want to make it about myself. I don't need a master morpher. I don't need a golden shield to make me the best version of myself I can be. All I need is faith. I need God and to know that He is there for me, to know that He is the one true power. I'm okay with being a part of the team. I'm okay with not having that shield. I'm okay with having to make a Megazord with people rather than have my own. I'm okay with giving up that power and going off somewhere and having to reach people that way. I'm okay holding on to something for a small amount of time until it's no longer mine to hold on to. I'm okay with coming back every once in a while. If that is what I'm called to do. I'm getting emotional over here, man. All right. It's 9:07. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to jump into prayer real quick and we'll call it. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we thank you for the opportunities that you have given us, that we have gotten up this morning, that we're able to go and talk to our neighbors or our friends or our spouses or just our loved ones in general, and just let them know of your glory and your greatness, and that we just appreciate all that you do, Lord. You know, I thank you for the things you've done in my life here recently and what you've always done. You've always been there as like a silent guardian, a watchful shadow. And I just want to thank you for still doing that today. I pray for anybody out there who's listening to this that doesn't feel like they have a sense of purpose, that they do feel like they're a Tommy Oliver and that they have to show the world everything that they have. Someone who feels lost or feels like they have to be loved by everybody, that it's got to be about them. I pray for them today that they find you, that they find the humbleness, and they realize that through you, that love will be complete. Anybody who just feels without a purpose, you know, who wants to be a Jason Lee Scott and just follow what God says, I pray that you reach them today, Lord, whether through this message or some other means out there as they go throughout their day. Or maybe you have somebody who is following their purpose, that is listening to you. I pray that they reach somebody today, that they bump into somebody on the street and they change their life forever. God, I thank you every single day that we're able to get on here. We're able to talk about our nerdy life and our faith and combine them, Lord, because I know that you've created these things so we can glorify you in many different ways and many different facets that go beyond what people of the past believed. Lord, I just want to reach at least one person today with this, if that is your will. If there's one person out there who can be touched by this, I pray that you allow that to happen. You know what's on our hearts. You know what's on our minds. Lord, I just pray for whatever anybody's needing today. We love you and we thank you. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Thanks so much. It is 7/19. It's July 19th. This may not go out today. This might go out tomorrow. I do have to run to the interview, but I might be able to get this uploaded today. So if it's up today, it's great. If not, it'll be up tomorrow. But remember, just let go. Let go of whatever it is you're holding on to. And you'll see the payment will be so much more than what you're holding on to. But I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a couple of days, hopefully Friday, and we'll dive into this more. But I'll see you guys later.